Welcome back to my channel. I'm James, and this channel is all about great movies and great TV series from all over the world. And today we've got another exciting review to sink our teeth into. Universal's classic monsters, Icons of Horror collection on 4K Ultra HD. And I just got this in a couple of days ago for review, so I was really excited to dive into this to see if this was a worthy upgrade or if it's something we should all skip. So we're going to be going into my exclusive 4K versus Blu-ray image comparison. As I know, a lot of you have requested me to do these more often. They do take a lot more work for me, but I am going to be doing that today to show you the differences between what this looks like and the previous release, which was the 30 film collection that basically they released of the Monsters movies previously. Then while we're going through that, I'm going to do a quick movie review, kind of tell you my thoughts about each of the films that are in here. I'm going to do an unboxing, show you what comes in the set. Then I'll run through the specs on the discs and let you know what's actually on the discs. And then at the end, I'm going to wrap it up with my review score, give you my final thoughts, if this is worth upgrading to, if this is something you should spend your money on, or if you should just keep that Blu-ray set if you already have it. So we have a lot to dive into this today, and it's kind of an interesting one to dive into because this is a 4K Ultra HD restoration and remaster for black and white films from the 1930s and 1940s. These four films spanned a time period between 1931 and 1941. So as we go into the 4K versus Blu-ray image comparison here, make sure you subscribe. Just as always, this is something exclusive I work really hard to provide to all of you on the channel. So that way there's something special other than me just holding the set and talking about it. It's showing you so you can see with your own eyes what it is that the difference is, so you know if this is worth something spending your money on. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification below. That way you don't miss out on any of these exclusive reviews that I've been doing. I have dozens of these that I've done over the years, and there is tons of reviews that I do special content that you're only going to find on my YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Now, talking about this set here for a minute, up above you're going to see some of the screenshots and the differences between the original Blu-ray release, which is the 30 film collection that came out before. Now obviously this only has 5 of those films in it. And I know you're thinking, well, there's only 4 listed on here. Well, what it's got in it is it's got both Dracula movies. So it has the regular Dracula and then it has Spanish Dracula, which they are drastically different in different areas. Now, those both are included in this. It has Frankenstein. Then it has obviously Invisible Man and the Wolf Man. That's what's in this 4K Ultra HD collection. Now obviously the 30 film collection that Universal released many years ago had way more films in it that went beyond just these 5 films. But I think what Universal's doing is they're testing the waters with this set to see, hey, are people gonna buy this and upgrade and spend the money for the amount of work that went into this new 4K restoration? Or are they really going to keep that old set and not really want to spend the money? And if so, I don't know if they're going to release more of these if this is not bought. But that still doesn't affect whether we should spend the money or not. And my reviews, as always, are never affected by something being sent to me or whether I buy it. Doesn't matter. My review scores and my reviews are always my own and my own opinion. So just to let you know that right off the bat. Talking about the images that you see above, you'll see one of Frankenstein up here versus the Blu-ray. There was some drastic differences in each one of these films, but I'm going to touch on some specific things so you kind of see what I did. Now, the darks to lights, because of the HDR10 representation on this, is drastically different. So if you have a Blu-ray player and a TV that can display HDR10, you will notice a drastic difference in the lights to darks. And what I mean by that is, as you see in those images above. Now, what I did notice is, comparing the two, I did notice that Universal on that original Blu-ray release they did use heavy DNR, which kind of gave the films a more hazy and softer appearance in general because they were using DNR to kind of get rid of some of the film grain in that original release on Blu-ray. And I thought originally it did look decent until I compared it to this. And you can see way more of the heavy film grain, way more of the natural presentation from these films from the 1930s and 40s. And it does look drastically better. And you can see that even in the dark areas of the screen, when you're looking at like Dracula, I'll show you a screenshot of Dracula here. In his face and things like that, the light areas really are quite brighter. And then the dark areas do look black, inky black. And it's an interesting thing with black and white films on 4K because I have gotten some black and white films on 4K before, but I really feel like Universal outdid even those with the blacks on this. I mean, heck, you go into Dracula's castle, and it's an interesting thing because you get the Blu-ray copies and the 4Ks in this set. You get the original Blu-rays of the original releases that they did in that 30 films box set is in this set. Just like when they released each of those 30 films separately on disc, that's the same disc you get in this for the Blu-ray copy only. And when you play that, and let's say you go to the same scene like I did, and then you put in the 4K disc and watch that same scene afterwards, because they're both included in the box set, even if you didn't own that 30 film set or these films individually before on Blu-ray, it's a drastic difference between the two. And I really did notice it. Even there's a lot of speckles in the film that in the Blu-ray release they came out with originally of these monster movies, there was a lot of speckles that they had fixed from the previous DVDs and beyond that they fixed on that Blu-ray, but there were still some even left in that. Now in this, when I was watching the scene of when they first get into Dracula's castle, and the gentleman's walking into Dracula's castle, and it's really dark in that scene. On the Blu-ray, a lot of the backgrounds and the areas that you were looking at were gray. There was a lot of gray to those scenes. On the actual 4K restoration they did here, those areas where it went deep into the shadows where they should have been black to give you this really eerie and kind of creepy effect, they weren't on the Blu-ray. They were more grayish and more just kind of a dark gray. On the 4K, it is black. And let me tell you, inky black, where you aren't sure something's in that depth, which, I mean, that's the way it was supposed to be. It was intended to be a monster, kind of creepy effect to it, and it added to that so much more so in this 4K than the Blu-ray ever had on it. And I really thought, like I said, that the Blu-rays looked decent before, but really when you sit them side by side and you play them on the same TV, the same Blu-ray player, with the HDR representation in this new 4K remaster versus the Blu-rays, there was a big upgrade and a big change that Universal did for this set. And that is one thing that I was surprised about, because I really didn't see that there was going to be too much, and I really didn't think there was going to be too much that Universal could do to make a black and white film look so much better. But they really did, and here's why. They took out that DNR, and because they left in the natural film grain, it added that more depth to it. Then they did the HDR presentation with the lights to darks and the varying shades of the lights to darks. And because there's no colors in this, it just has the shades of the lights to darks. So when it gets to those dark areas where it's supposed to be black and inky black, man, is it inky black. I mean, literally, it's like pitch black, night black. Whereas on the Blu-ray, like I said, it was more of a grayish, dark grayish tone. But when you compare the two side by sides, there's no comparison. This new 4K restoration of these four movies drastically looked better. And those screenshots up above should be giving you a drastic presentation of how much better the film looks, especially without that DNR, where the DNR took a lot of detail out of their faces. There's a screenshot above I'm going to show you of a gal from the movie that I thought it looked pretty good on the Blu-ray, but when I compared it to the 4K and did the screenshot, man, is it night and day better. Even though it does have more film grain, it's not as smoothed out where it's kind of like her face kind of blended into her neck more. Now you can see the details of her chin and the details of her neck and her eyebrows more and the hair on her head more. There was just so much more depth and detail to this 4Ks that it really did surprise me how much they were able to pull out and how much better the image really did look on this 4K. As always, I will have the links for this listed in the description section right below this video. So if you're going to pick this set up, make sure to go down through the link in the description section below to pick up your copy. Now, while we're going through these screenshots above, I do want to touch on the box set here for a minute here. Now, as always, I'm going to go through an unboxing on this, but I will tell you right off the bat, I do not like the box set that Universal released this in. Mine came really damaged. I don't know if you can see that here, but it was crushed. It was actually completely crushed. You can see it all cracked here. And there's a book inside here, and the book's damaged, and it's very flimsy casing. Now, Universal's been releasing a lot of these in these like book formats, which I didn't really have that much of a problem with, just like what they did with Back to the Future, until this one. The outside case is even flimsier than the Back to the Future one, and it really did get crushed easily in the mail. And I was a little disappointed with that and kind of wish this would have been in a hard case with leaflets inside it. But I guess this is what Universal sold on and likes releasing things on. But I didn't like how easily these were damaged and how easily it was crushed. So that did disappoint me a little bit. And that did affect the review score a little bit, because I don't like these like soft cases that they release it in with these books. And I'll show you here what's in this while I'm going through those screenshots above. It has the same cover art here where it says Universal Classic Monsters, Icons of Horror, Dracula, Frankenstein, Invisible Man, and Wolfman. And then when you get inside here, it has some black and white photos. And I do like these glossy photos they use in here. I just don't like how flimsy these boxes and the book is, that it easily got crushed and bent Whereas I feel like if they put this in a little pamphlet, like a little book, kind of like what Arrow Video does in a basically hard case with an outside slip cover that it goes into, that would have been a lot better in my opinion. I just feel like these books don't hold up as well when they go through shipping. Now, going through here, it does have obviously the posters, going through showing the original posters, talking about the film a little bit. And it does have, like I said originally, the 4K disc in here, which is your brand new 4K Ultra HD, and those are on one side. And then on the other side, you have your original Blu Ray release disc. And like I said, this is the original Blu Ray that came in that 30 film set that they released of the monsters, as well as when they released it individually, this is the same disc as what they released individually in each of the box sets that came for like Dracula after that time period. So if you own these films on the original Blu-ray release, you won't need to hold on to those individual Blu-rays for any reason because you get a copy of them in this set as well. And when I go through this, it has the nice posters on it. I did like that. And I like how they include little things with little descriptions and the pictures on them. I just really don't like how flimsy these books are. Now to touch on the special features here just for a minute, it does have the same special features because it includes everything from the previous release. All of those special features are included in here. They didn't leave anything out. Same special features that were on each disc, including the Blu-ray discs, are the same special features you get on these. So you don't need to keep those, like I said, for any reason for that either. The same special features are included on those. Then you have your Invisible Man, H.G. Wells with those pictures. And then you have your Wolfman here. And then at the back, it does have the last two pictures that are listed on the back here. And like I said, I'm just not as big a fan of these book formats. I really wish they were in a case that protected the discs a little better because one of my discs did come scratched. Basically, this little slip cover here, how it comes out, the disc had slipped out through the box because it was basically damaged. It slipped out through this side of it and then come out and the disc itself was scratched. So again, that kind of affects the review score a little bit because I do feel like the packaging on this was not that great. And then on the back, it has all the same posters listed on it saying Universal Classic Monsters 4 Icons of Horror Films. Now you do get a digital copy with this as well, which is the 4K Ultra HD releases of these, and that is a Movies Anywhere digital code. I don't use my digital copies, as all of you know, I only collect physical media, so as far as that goes, the digital copy wasn't a big deal for me, but those of you that want it, you do get all your 4K discs, your Blu-ray, and your digital copy, so that way if you want any of that, you have access to all of those, so you can watch it on any platform you want. Now, as far as the movies go, my favorite of them is definitely Frankenstein. Frankenstein holds a soft spot in my heart. I don't know if it's because it's the kind of story of an outcast monster not being understood that kind of appeals to me, but that one by far is my favorite of all of these in this set. Dracula holds its own appeal just for it was one of the first things of its kind, 1931, just trying to do something new, so it has a really unique aspect to that. And on this new 4K Ultra HD release, Dracula by far had a lot of speckles fixed, even over the Blu-ray, that drastically made it look better. And I will be honest, there were some scenes in Dracula's castle that were so depth and dark and just foreboding that it really did feel like a different film from the Blu-ray. And that's where, even though these screenshots look good that I'm showing you above, seeing it in person is always going to look better because YouTube's algorithm and all these screenshots, even being uploaded in 4K, will never look as good as playing on a good 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray player and a good 4K TV with HDR representation. You'll really notice the difference. So these screenshots above will give you an example, but man, it does look a whole lot better in person. The rest of the films on here are good. That I wish it would have been a bigger box set with maybe all 30 films, but at that price point that they're selling this for, you're looking at right around $60 to $65 right now is how much this is going for. So if Universal would have released all 30 films at that price point, we would have been looking at around $400 or $500 for that box set. And I think that they knew nobody was going to spend that money for it. And to be honest with you, I can guarantee you I wouldn't have spent that much money for that box set. So that's why I think they did it in a smaller package of basically having the 5 films in it. So that way people could test it, see if they like it, if they enjoy it. And if it sells well enough, I do think Universal will continue to release more of these films, especially around this time of the year. There's such good, like, gothic horror movies without being too over the top, but just giving you such a good feel. And these are some great classic movies. And if you've watched my channel for a while, you know I love all the old classic movies. There's so much more to enjoy and dive into, and so much more that they were trying for in a lot of these older movies, that nowadays it's very rare that I go to a movie or see a modern movie that I really feel like they're as good as a lot of these older films were. And these are some of those really great classic movies, and I was surprised to see the big difference on this 4K restoration versus the Blu-rays, and that's a good thing. And if you like classic black and white films that have a more plotting and more depth to the characters, and there's a lot of things that you interpreted by what they would film as far as the scene goes, and they didn't have massive special effects like nowadays where everything was computer effects. A lot of it was practical effects, just like Dracula's castle. A lot of it was done with just lighting in the black and white areas to give you certain effects or eerie effects, and these big sets that were built. These films were really well done, and I really do feel like there's something great to add to your collection. If you've never seen them, you are missing out on some really good classic pieces of cinema. As a cinephile, I love getting films and upgrading films to the best quality they've ever looked, and these 4 films do look the best on 4K that they've ever looked before. I have something I'm going to cover real quick with all of you, so make sure you stick around. We've got a lot more exciting stuff to dive into about this set. If you enjoy my content and you enjoy this video, please consider giving this video a super thanks. There's a symbol right below this video, and when you click on that, that helps you to give a super thanks to the channel. All of that goes right back into the channel, and that helps me to keep providing you all of this content with all this time I put in, special effects, music, and all of the work that goes into providing you all of this exclusive content on my YouTube channel. So I ask that if you enjoy these videos and my content, please consider giving this video a super thanks. Another way you can help to support this channel is if you're going to pick up any of these titles in any of these reviews I do, any of these videos I do, always go to the description section right below each video, click through that description section and pick it up through there. That money goes right back into the channel and helps to support this channel as well at no cost to you. So those prices down there that Amazon sells those for on those links is always the same price you get it from anywhere else. And all of that helps to support this channel. So there's 2 ways you can help support this channel: by giving a super thanks or by clicking through those links in the description section right below each video. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and a like for me. Click that subscribe button and the bell notification. That way you're notified right when I release these videos, just like when I release any of this early or any of this exclusive content that you're only gonna find here on my YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe. All right, let's dive right back into this. All right, going back into this. On the Universal Classic Monsters Icons of Horror collection here, it is in a native 4K 2160p with HDR10. And like I said, it does look better like you saw in those actual screenshot comparisons between the Blu-ray versus the 4K. And the 4K representation, because it's a native 4K instead of an upscaled, that 2160p representation does look drastically better on this than those Blu-rays, and it just gave much more depth to that film. The aspect ratio on this is a 1:33:1, so it's a full frame aspect ratio. So you will have the black bars on the sides of the film, just like what I showed in the screenshots above, and then the image is in the center at 1:33:1. Now, on all the movies except for the Spanish Dracula version, so on Dracula, Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, and Wolfman, you're going to get English DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 Mono. Then you also get that same audio mix in French, Italian, Spanish, German, and on the Spanish Dracula, you get Spanish only. So in that case, that one you get Spanish only. But subtitle-wise, man, is it a long list of subtitles. And when you get to the main menu of each film, it gives you the option on the 4K disc what language you want it selected in right from the main menu before you even get into the regular menu on the disc. You get English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, Danish, Finnish, Norwegian, and Swedish. And that's a lot. Basically, any option you want, you get to go through them and choose whatever you want on it. Now, I will share this with you as well. All the discs in this set are region free. As all of you know that have watched my channel for years, I exclusively test all of these. Every review I do, I test every disc I get. Both the Blu-rays and the 4Ks in this set are region free. So if you import this through the link that I have listed down in the description section below, you can get this and buy it in any country you want, and this set is region free. There's no issues playing on any Blu-ray player anywhere. Region A, Region B, Region C, worked perfectly fine in all of them. That's both the 4Ks and the Blu-ray discs in this set. On the discs, it does have on your 4K discs BD100s, so I do like when they use BD100s. Not that the company is trying to save money, they put plenty of room on that disc for the content. Nothing was overcompressed, which actually adds to making sure that that content is in the best form it can be. So the 4Ks are BD100s in here. The Blu-ray discs are BD50s. and that's pretty standard for Blu-ray discs. A lot of the times they're BD50s. So the Blu-rays aren't really what you're buying it for anyways, because those were previously released anyways. It's that 4K Ultra HD restoration that you're really buying this for. Now, for films that came out in 1931 to 1941, I do think they hold up incredibly well. I love classic movies. I love classic monster movies. As all of you know, I love collecting classic cinema just in general altogether. And I think these black and white films look amazing in 4K. And I really do hope that more companies will get on the bandwagon of doing these 4K restorations and releasing more films, even black and white films. Heck, there's a ton of Cary Grant and Errol Flynn films that would look amazing with a 4K restoration and remaster on 4K. But I'm glad to have these to add to my collection because around this time of the year, it's a great thing to have. Just this eerie feeling in October. I love having these films, and I do think they look great. My review score for this was slightly affected because I did not like this box set. Loved the films, I loved the discs. I did not like that my disc was scratched though. I don't like how flimsy the box is. I wish it was put in better packaging, but for the price rise, they're charging $60 to $65. I guess that's why they put it in this packaging, to save themselves some money. So I guess I understand it, though I wish it would have been in a better case, but my guess is they probably would have charged us about $100 for this set instead of $60 to $65. So I guess that's a trade-off we all have. To save some money to buy physical media, we have to accept some bad packaging, because if they would have sold each and every one individually on their own, they probably would have charged $25 to $30 to put them in each individual case on their own. So that would have cost you $100 just for those on its own. Whereas this, like I said, is $60 to $65. So I guess I understand it, though I just don't like getting things damaged. So my review score for this, love the films. I think the restoration and remaster on this did look great. The inky blacks really are outstanding, and they really did fix a bunch of the speckles and things that were left over from the previous Blu-ray release, and they didn't use DNR for this, and that's a big thing for me. Film grain, leaving it the natural way, scanning it correctly, and not using DNR is always a big thing for me. So my review score for this is an 8.8. That's a great review score for this. It lost some points simply because I did not like this packaging at all. Otherwise, the discs themselves at 8.8 is for the discs and the content themselves. That's great. They did a great job with the restoration, in my opinion. What I saw, when you play it side by side and you watch the same scenes, that's where you really notice the difference. And that's why I try to always share and do these 4K versus Blu-ray and Blu-ray versus Blu-ray image comparisons exclusively on my channel, is because that way you can see it and feel it for yourself what it is that you're really seeing and spending your money on. So in my opinion, if you're getting it for around the $60 to $65 price range, it's a good deal. If you were to get them individually and pay $25 or whatever and almost $100 for this entire set, I don't know about that, because to me that's a little bit pricey for it. So around 60, 65, I do think it's worth it. 8.8 is a great review score for this, and I do think upgrading them to this adds a whole new element to these films that really did make it look a whole lot better. So since they did such a good job with these, that's why it did get an 8.8. So let me know if you're going to pick up this set, what your thoughts are on it, if you loved the films, and if you're going to pick up this box set. And let me know if you've also liked Universal's releases in these like book cases, if you like those, or if you'd rather them to release them in actual hard cases. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and a like for me. And I will have the link for all of this posted in the description section right below this video. And I do really appreciate all the love and support all of you have given over the years. I have a ton more of these exclusive and special reviews coming up. I've gotten tons of stuff in recently, and I am working non-stop. 2 full-time jobs plus this to try to get out as much content as fast as I possibly can to all of you. And that's why I always say, if you enjoy my content and you enjoy these videos, please consider giving this video a super thanks. That does help me to continue to provide you more and more of this special and exclusive content. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. There is a ton more coming. You don't want to miss out on it. I hope all of you have a blessed day, and I look forward to doing this again real soon.